Hi everyone, and welcome to this edition of Comet Conversation. As many of you know, our elementary buildings are very old and becoming expensive to repair and maintain. They're also limiting our ability to provide a 21st century education. We do have a plan in place to address these problems. It involves the construction of a new K-3 elementary school, as well as upgrades to our heating and cooling systems at Nord Middle School and Steele High School. This plan would require a ballot issue this November that would not increase taxes if passed. And we are fortunate to have on today's program Amy Boggs, first grade teacher at Powers Elementary, and Rob Giacobbe from our maintenance department to talk a little bit about the limitations that our facilities present to us. First of all, thanks for being with us on today's program. And Rob, I guess maybe we'll start with you, and you know firsthand about some of the facility challenges that we're facing, in particular at our elementary schools. First of all, how often do you get called out to make emergency repairs, especially at Powers and Harris?
Well, at Powers and Harris, we're going out several times a month, and that's for electric, plumbing, heating, building, with the leaky roofs and things like that.
Talk a little bit about plumbing and maybe some of the challenges that you deal with on a relatively consistent basis.
Well, at Harris, the sinks are so old that they no longer make those parts. So if they wear out or they break, if we can even find a piece that we need, they're very expensive. So often Frankenstein some parts. We have to get creative to fix them and get them going.
Now, let's shift a little bit to heating and cooling. I know in particular, thinking back a year ago and even 2 years ago when we had those cold winters, we had some issues with heating.
Yes.
At Harris and actually some of the other buildings as well, where some of the rooms had heat, some of the rooms didn't have heat. Tell us about that and why we're having some of the problems that we're having.
Well, the systems that control each part of the building, they no longer communicate with each other. The software is very outdated, and to get new software, we have to get new heating units, and that's very expensive. So there's not really a whole lot we could do when rooms are too cold or too hot. Kind of have to do the best that we can.
So it would be fair to say that we're taking a very Band-Aid
Yes.
approach to trying to keep our mechanical systems going, correct?
That would be correct.
How about from a safety and security standpoint? We believe that we have safe and secure schools, but could you speak to a new elementary school and how that could further enhance safety and security?
Well, absolutely. With a new building, we would no longer need the modular trailers for the students who have to, when they change classrooms or have to use the restroom or for lunch, they have to walk from the trailers to the school. So that's a safety concern. Also, with the new building, the entry doors would be a lot more secure than they are now for visitors, and classroom doors would be a lot easier to secure if there was an emergency.
Okay. Let's kind of shift gears and kind of move into the educational realm if we could. And I know, Amy, you can speak firsthand, to how our current elementary buildings kind of limit the education that we're able to provide for our students. Could you speak to that?
Absolutely. Education has changed so much over the last 50 years, and we're trying to prepare our students for more of a global economy. And when we have technology issues consistently, heating and cooling, like Rob spoke to, particularly in my room, I can speak on that this winter. We were going back and forth from it was, sweltering hot to very cold. Students were putting on coats, taking off coats. When they're not focused on learning and education, you've lost them, and that's a big issue.
How about from a classroom standpoint, the physical size of the classroom and how that impacts teaching and learning? I know that teaching, obviously, we approach things in a different way now than we did several years ago. Can you speak to the physical size of the classroom and how that impacts education?
Absolutely. My classroom's very small. I have 25 students, and with the tables and chairs and just the teacher desk alone, that's about all the space I have in the classroom. And because we are doing so much with technology and collaboration with students, either working with pairs or working in groups, we're very limited on space. I have one extra table in the back of my room that I could use for my guided reading program. Other than that, I don't have the space. So I would like to have a science center or technology in my room that I could utilize and have there at all times. And unfortunately, due to that restraint of the size, we don't have, the place to put that.
Well, and you mentioned technology, and could you maybe talk a little bit about perhaps a new elementary building and how that would enhance your ability to integrate technology into the classroom?
Absolutely. The technology, we have nothing but issues with when we're trying to get on the internet and access a lot of our curriculum and putting the students on devices such as our iPads or our laptops. We have a lot of connectivity issues. So looking at maybe better bandwidths, more plugs in the classroom. We're very limited, very antiquated. I think I have 6 outlets and maybe 3 of them work. So then we're running extension cords here and there. And that's an issue. When we want to be able to use that technology that we have, we can't do that.
Rob had mentioned modulars and how if we didn't have to deal with the modular issues, that would allow us to provide an enhanced level of safety and security. And could you maybe talk a little bit about the modulars and how they actually take away instructional time? Because I know we have some time that's involved there and moving students throughout the building.
Yes, there's a lot of time involved, and Rob had mentioned students, especially in the winter, putting on coats, boots just to go into the building to use their facilities or to transfer to different classes. Coming back into the modular, they're taking them off. We're losing about 15 minutes a day just in instructional time with the transporting of back and forth, taking off coats, and especially with our little ones too, it takes a little more time to get them ready to do that. So you're losing, if you look at that over a span of a week, that's a lot of lost instructional time with those modular units.
Well, and in closing, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for sharing your kind of in the trenches look at some of the challenges we're facing, in particular at our elementary schools. And again, thank you for making the most and making the best of sometimes what are very, very difficult circumstances. Sure. In closing, as I mentioned at the outset, we are dealing with older elementary schools that are becoming very, very expensive to maintain. And after years of service to our schools, we're running into costly repairs that need to be made, not just at our elementary schools, but also at Nord and Steele High School as well. And the opportunity to provide a comprehensive fix to our school facilities lies before us as we look towards November and a possible ballot issue that, again, if passed, will not increase taxes is something we need to consider as a community. And in addition, the opportunity to consolidate schools from 5 buildings to 4 buildings, it gives us an opportunity to save about $500,000 a year in operating and maintenance costs, further strengthening our financial position. Again, wanted to share that with you, our listening and viewing audience. As always, thank you for your support of the Amherst schools. And at any time, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to give me a call or email me at the board office. Thanks again, and go Comets.